This leads to the church tower, I presume. It's locked. The doors look weathered, but have stood the test of time. Goodness me, look at these box pews. I've never seen any as tall as that before. Most unusual architecture, even for the Normans. The pews are contained within compartments that can be locked. I've seen a similar design in other Norman churches around England, but this is a particularly impressive example. Locked. Locked as well. I think they all might be. Is that a necklace? Someone has left a necklace hanging here. A silver cross. Sterling by the look of it. Maybe I can reunite it with its owner. Extraordinary craftsmanship. Stained glass depictions of various biblical scenes. It's not my specialist area. I can admire the craftsmanship from afar. This must be where the local vicar sacrifices the newborns. I've no time for such things.
There's always time to sacrifice newborns?
A memorial list of former vicars. They stretch back several hundred years. Those have seen better days. The flowers have long since dried out. I don't want them. A fine assortment of baked goods. A lovely treat for those who enjoy such things. Unfortunately, I don't think the cakes are free.
Crime is free? I'm sure that you can outrun this lady here.
The woman has a kind face. Hello.
Good day. Would you like to buy one of these cakes, pet?
What kind of cakes do you have?
I have some lovely Bakewell puddings, the sweetest marriage of almond and jam. I can tell you're not from around here, because if you were, you would know about my Bakewell puddings. They are quite famous.
Alas, I'm not carrying any money with me.
That's unfortunate, pet. I'm sorry, I can't give them away for free. The money goes to the church, you see, and one cannot shirk one's duty to the church.
I understand. My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Mrs. de Plancy.
A pleasure to meet you, Mrs. de Plancy.
Likewise, pet.
Tell me about yourself, Mrs. de Plancy.
About me? What would you possibly want to know about me? I've been attending St. Edmund's Church my whole life. I always want to help where I can, so I sell my baked goods and all the proceeds go to its upkeep. This place means so much to me.
Your cakes look delicious.
I can assure you they are. You'll not find better in the entire county.
What can you tell me about St. Edmund's Church?
Isn't it the finest building? It's been standing here since the 12th century. The box pews in the nave are very fine and date back to the 17th century. The door is open if you'd like to worship.
Thank you, Mrs. de Plancy. Do you know a local man called Leonard Shoulder?
Yes, I know Leonard. What business do you have with him?
It's a long story, but I'm trying to find where he lives.
I'm afraid I don't know, dear. Father Roach has access to the parish register. He might be able to help you.
What can you tell me about Father Roach?
He is a lovely man and an exemplary servant of the Lord. He's been the vicar of St. Edmund's for many years.
Where can I find Father Roach?
At this time of day, he'll be taking his exercise in Herne Wood, to the west of the village.
Thank you. I'll go find him.
Be sure to listen out for his merry whistling. Such a jolly man.
Father Roach was not in the woods while we were there, but he is now. He does not turn up until we have spoken to Mrs. Duplancy. We will go back there soon. We still have more of Bewley to explore.
What do you know of Hobbs Barrow?
Hobbs what?
Hobbs Barrow, a local burial mound.
The only place of burial I know about and care for is in this very churchyard.
What do you know about Lord Panswick?
Wretched man. They say he is restoring a chapel near his manor. But for whom and to what god, I ask?
Is he a man of faith?
I've barely seen him set foot in St. Edmunds. It doesn't stop him from acting as our God-given ruler. Stay away from him, pet. Don't get yourself tangled up in local affairs.
I certainly don't intend to. Why did you call Lord Panswick wretched?
He hides in that manor of his and cares not for his people. I've heard stories whispered in the pews, you know.
What kind of stories?
That he shoots people on sight. Anyone that strays onto Panswick Manor.
Good grief.
Yet he will walk into the plough and furrow and buy ale for all and be hailed as our protector. I answer to God and God alone. Forgive me, pet. I shouldn't get so worked up.
Not at all. I appreciate your honesty, Mrs. Duplancy. Thank you for your time.
Lord be with you.
In memory of Peter Black. In memory of George Paxton. In memory of William Ager. In memory of Barnaby Tillett.
I wonder if Barnaby is related to Arthur.
In memory of Mabel Hurst. In memory of Percival Roach. In memory of Benjamin Garkham. In memory of Romeo Hegg, dearly missed by his beloved Juliet.
Hold on. Is that Shakespeare?
In memory of Millicent Smith. In memory of Henry Crozier.
And Crozier sounds familiar as well.
The trusty trowel, the barrow digger's best friend. Excuse me, do you think anyone would mind if I borrowed this trowel?
You help yourself, dear. Father Roach won't mind lending it. Just be sure to put it back when you're finished.
Of course, thank you.
It is more blessed to give than to receive.
John Purchase, dearly beloved husband of Florence. Forever in light, Anne Kemp. Here lies Margaret Tillett, beloved mother, wife, and sister. Joseph Davis. Samuel Bryden. Death is only a shadow across the path to heaven. Here lies Elizabeth Farnaby. This appears to be a recently dug, unmarked grave. William Paxton, modest and gentle of heart. The path leads to a small hill. I'm not sure if these are poisonous or edible.
Is this some kind of fairy ring? Is that what you call it? I may have to do some more research.
I'd better not touch them. They could be poisonous. This path leads out over the moors. The moors stretch into the distance. I don't wish to wander aimlessly. A fine spot to take a rest. Margaret's Lookout. I wonder who Margaret is, or was. I've seen cairns like this all over England, quite common. The locals might be alarmed if I dismantle their cairn. The moors stretch off for miles. The moors continue for miles in this direction. I don't wish to lose my way.
And that is all that we can see of Bewley for the moment. Let's go and find Father Roach. Actually, before I do that, let's check out the map. We only have 3 spots that we can visit. Anyway, let's continue on. Now, a cairn is a human-made pile or a stack of stones raised for a purpose. And they've been around since prehistory, and you can find them pretty much all over the world in various forms. And they're usually used as a marker, and they have been known to be used as a burial mound. And these burial mounds can also contain separate chambers as well. And they're still in use in modern day. I mean, they're still used in like mountaineering they're used as trail markers and also as markers on mountains.
Very sorry. Oh, the shame. This malaise will not pass. Oh, the nausea. I need your help, young lady.
Tell me what you need.
Let the blood from my arm.
Excuse me?
Cut me. I beg you.
Really? Does that actually work?
The vicar looks dreadfully ill. Are you sure this is the only way, Father?
I beg you. It's the only cure for this torturous malady.
I don't wish to look too closely. I'm not going near it. It smells disgusting. The vicar's spectacles lie broken on the forest floor. Ouch! The broken lens is extremely sharp. The trusty trowel, the Barrow digger's best friend. This one has seen better days. I think this might be genuine sterling silver. A fine white glove, gents style. I found it in the alleyway behind the ploughed furrow.
The glove might do the trick, but the handkerchief is what we need.
This handkerchief was a gift from my mother. I hope she will understand. This should work. A sharp shard of glass from a pair of broken spectacles.
Now that could work, but this might as well.
The trowel's blade is dull and rusted. I need something that will provide a cleaner cut. I don't think it's sharp enough.
Alright. Let's do it the proper way then.
Are you sure you want me to do this?
Yes, it will cure me of my ills.
I shall do as you ask, Father.
Thank the Lord for my spare pair. God bless you. I already feel quite better.
I'm glad, Father.
The rapid healing properties of bloodletting cannot be overstated. I'm Frederick Roach, vicar of St. Edmund's Church.
My name is Thomasina Bateman. It's a pleasure to meet you. Are you feeling better?
Yes, thank you.
What ails you, Father Roach?
I just ate a rotten berry, that's all. I like to pick blackberries for my supper, you see. They are quite delicious, as long as you mind the bramble. My apologies again. I wish we had met in different circumstances.
Right, so a bramble from a blackberry caused him to vomit, and that, in turn, needed us to let blood from him. I'm not really buying that, to be honest.
Are you from Bewley originally?
I was born in our very own St. Edmunds. It's quite the story.
Do tell.
My mother was sheltering there as a frightful tempest raged. And lo, did her waters break right there and then in that pew.
One could say that you were born into your role, Father.
Indeed. When my mother told me the story as a young boy, I knew that this was my calling.
St. Edmunds is a fine building.
Thank you for saying so. It's hard work keeping her in good shape, but our congregation is always willing to lend a hand in the Lord's name.
What is it like being the vicar here?
Every day is a blessing, my child. I have a great love for our parish, and the Lord looks after us.
What about your congregation?
Numbers have fallen over the years, I must say. But those that remain are faithful and full of His Spirit.
I'm looking for Mr. Leonard Shoulder.
Oh, yes? Are you a relative?
No, it's a long story, but he invited me to Bewley.
And he didn't tell you his address?
He was to meet me last night at the Plough and Furrow, but he never came.
I see. Well, let me welcome you to Bewley on his behalf.
Thank you, Father. Do you know where Mr. Shoulder lives?
Let me think. It's been many moons since I've paid him a visit.
Perhaps you could allow me to take a look at the parish register.
No need. I remember it now. A fair hike across the moors.
Could you please give me directions?
I'll take you there myself. It's the least I can do after you aided me so.
Capital. Thank you.
Just let me know when you're ready to pay him a visit. I'll be resting here for the time being.
What do you know of Hobbs Barrow?
I can't say I've heard of it.
It's supposedly a famous local landmark.
I'm afraid I know nothing about it.
What can you tell me about Bewley?
It's a quiet town. The railway line, which I presume you arrived by, is the only news of note we've had here for years.
I've heard the new station has received a mixed reaction.
I've heard many a debate, it's true. But my role is not to adjudicate on that matter. I'm very busy in my own work, you see.
What do you know of Lord Panswick?
Oh, yes. A rather important fellow around here. His vast land holdings give many a steady employment.
I hear he is renovating an old chapel on his land.
Aye, I've heard such reports. He believes this to be a godless land. Something I wholeheartedly disagree with. To which god his chapel will be dedicated to remains a matter of concern.
Why do you say that?
Oh, my apologies. Don't listen to my oafish conjecture. Let us move on.
I'm ready to go to Mr. Shoulder's house.
Excellent. I feel the fresh air will do me well. Follow me.
Good morning, Father.
Good morning, Mrs. Duplancy. Mrs. Duplancy, this is Thomasina Bateman, a visitor to our parish.
We've already had the pleasure of meeting, Father.
Excellent. Miss Bateman, don't hesitate to try one of Mrs. Duplancy's wonderful cakes.
Yes, I've heard about her famous Bakewell puddings.
I'll be here all day, young lady. But remember, once they're gone, they're gone. Those little whelps have already gobbled up all the gingerbread.
You are doing God's work, Mrs. Duplancy.
He smiles upon us, Father.
Miss Bateman, if you'd like to follow me. Let's talk of graves, of worms, and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes, write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors, and talk of wills.
Shakespeare?
Quite. Which play?
Richard II.
Correct. You are well read, Miss Bateman. Studying the work of the bard is one of my favorite pastimes. Follow me. Behold, the vast expanse of God's creation. The moors extend as far as the mortal eye can see. Beautiful, is it not?
It kind of is, actually.
Indeed, the moors are beautiful.
The beauty of God's creation is that it takes so many forms. How can one take in such a view and not have faith? Some look at these moors and think this a godless land. But I tell you, he is found in all domains. The Lord's work is all about us. Tell me, Miss Bateman, do you believe in God?
I was brought up Anglican. The church was an important part of my early life, Father Roach. But what happened to my father eventually made me question things.
If you don't mind me asking, my child, what happened to your father?
He had an accident when I was very young.
Come along now, Thomasina. Let's get out of the rain. Remember what I told you, all right? Be a good girl. People are unwell here. They don't want to hear you running about making noise. Understood?
Yes, Mother.
Good. And don't annoy the nurses.
I promise I won't.
Good. Now, let's see your father.
I've just noticed that the mother, she appears to be pregnant. If she is, then that's quite interesting.
Mummy is crying. Mummy? Mummy?
I don't know how I missed that in my first playthrough.
Daddy is sleeping. Daddy, wake up!
Good evening, Mr. Bateman. Hello, little one. You must be Thomasina?
Yes.
My name is Nurse Blaketon. I just need to talk to your mummy for a little bit. I'm sorry to disturb you, Mrs. Bateman. Mrs. Bateman?
Will he ever talk again, Nurse Blaketon?
The doctor is uncertain, Mrs. Bateman. There is the possibility that Mr. Bateman won't regain any movement at all. But we will do our utmost to look after Mr. Bateman here at Ticehurst Manor. He will have a nurse by his side at all times, I can assure you.
What sort of God would allow this fate to befall such a kind and honest man?
I'm sorry to hear this. God moves in mysterious ways, but he loves us all. Come along now.
Hello. She scampered off in a hurry. Who was that?
Some primitive folk make their home out on the moors. I suggest you keep your wits about you when you are exploring, and don't stray too far from Bewley.
I see. How much farther to Mr. Shoulder's house?
Still quite a walk, I'm afraid. But we'll get to him soon enough. Now then, take a look at this. Legend has it that this cairn has stood here for over 1,000 years.
How remarkable.
The Devil's Toe.
I beg your pardon?
That's what it's called. The Devil's Toe.
Oh, I see.
Come now, onward.